You are listening to WRFG Atlanta. WRFG provides a voice for those who have been traditionally denied access to the broadcast media through the involvement of a broad base of community elements to guarantee that access. In the utilization of the facilities and in its programs, the following communities will receive first priority: those who continue to be denied free and open access to the broadcast media, and those who suffer oppression or exploitation based upon class, race, sex, age, creed, sexual orientation, disability, or immigrant status.
To learn how you can support WRFG's mission, please go to WRFG.org.
Good morning, Blues. WRFG Atlanta.
Good morning, Blues. We'll brighten up your day as you put on your shoes. Yeah, yeah. You know it's got to be the way to wake up each and every day on WRFG in Atlanta. Good morning, Blues.
Good morning, Blues.
Good morning, Blues. This is Tony O'Malley on WRFG Atlanta.
So here I am back from vacation, digging through. There's a lot of stuff I haven't opened yet, so excuse me if I don't get to it till next week. But even so, this great smorgasbord of all kinds of stuff, from acoustic to electric to male to female to bands to solo. There's a lot of stuff in here. Plenty to please everybody. Just pick through with me. We'll go along the line. Going to start off with something that, by utter relief, is a show that I should have gone to last night with the Doobie Brothers, because Michael McDonald was fronting them for the first time. It's their 50th anniversary tour. We landed from Hawaii about 4 o'clock after 14, 15 hours of travel. And I was dreading the fact I had to crash a 2-hour nap and head out to Verizon. But the good news was they postponed it for about another 5-6 weeks. It's been cancelled 3 times, why not? But anyway, I thought, here's a great idea. Let's play the Doobie Brothers, which will also be an introduction to my guest of the day.
Some
top-down summer kind of song off the new Doobie Brothers album, and they sound just exactly the way you'd expect them to. Why did I play that relative to my guest today? Mostly because of the title and the feeling, but the American dream is what Mr. Peter Karp is living, because he gets away with murder, playing around, based in Venice, playing around all over Europe, and picks up great musicians in different places who know how good he is, and I can't wait to jump in and play with him and fill out this calendar while he just lolls around in the most beautiful part of Italy. It's like, anyway, you're going to hear me talking to him, and I know this is going to come up because he knows that how jealous I am. That's really what it's all about, is jealousy, isn't it? But anyway, if you don't know Peter Karp, you're going to hear some music from him next, just as an introduction. If you do, you know how entertaining he is. Blues Americana is about as close as you're going to get to pigeonholing him, but don't do that. The guy tells tremendous stories musically, and that's what I relate to him about. Mick Taylor, on his third album, toured and played with him on that album, and said so many great things about what he can do, and he still does all of those things, but probably every other year, he'll put out an album and he'll just explode another bunch of songs on you. Some of them incredibly painful emotionally, some of them rocking, some of them very funny, all over the place, but never, ever boring. I think he was chosen one of the top 75 modern blues and rock artists that you have to hear. And I think it was a Rock and Blues Muse magazine. But anyway, just listen to this lot.
I love the tacky way you dress, the way your streak-tipped hair falls in a mess, the way you curse, you're like a class, the way you walk into church shaking your ass. When I darling, you know you ain't no queen or duchess, but I love your prettiness. But you got no style, you lack all grace. In the morning look like Picasso paint your face. Bad teeth, crooked smile, press on nails and caps that shine like bathroom tile. Well, here I admit I digress, but I love your prettiness. And our love is an ocean of turbulent emotion, but you know that's the way it ought to be. You got a mean disposition, gave me a nervous condition, but damn, I like the way you look when you're mad at me. Big hair, flat feet, bad skin, oh, and a white seat. No forehead for foreheads. When you holler me and the dog, we crawl under the bed. You know it's all such a terrible mess, but I love your prettiness. That's right.
Some time ago, somewhere in the north, the kid swings careless and free. Some time ago, somewhere in the south, a man swung from a rope in a tree. Some time ago, beyond the black horizon, in a squall of foliage sink. Some time ago, by a furious fire, the gentlemen applied an end drink. An old fool once cried to me, mostly fat in the book of facts. Wild-eyed, he whispered to me, all you need to know is in between the shadows and the cracks. Back a ways, more than a while ago, a young bride goes through the motions. Up ahead in the distance, a young man lies in wait with a head full of notions. In the echoing hills, a shotgun blast gets in the final word. On a crowded street, a postulating prophet never gets heard. No, he don't. An old fool once cried to me, he got fat in the book of facts. Wild-eyed, he whispered to me, all you need to know is in between the shadows and the cracks. Blood out in the ocean, runaway trains racing down the tracks. Take a long hard look at what's between the shadows and the cracks. Well, I loved her to death, I couldn't say why. Still, as much as I loved her, I didn't want to die. No matter how it was or how good it got, right from the start, was just a matter of time. That girl, she'd break her own heart. That's right. You know that kind of a woman, she's a rare bird, hard to find. She's shiny, she excites you, she'll drive you out of your mind. And just when you think that you and she will never part, that's when you realize that girl, she breaks her own heart. Sometimes she do it by cheating, sometimes she do it with a lie. She walk away with a laugh, but if you listen close, it's really a cry. Sometimes she do it with a lie. She walks away with a laugh, but if you listen close, it's really a cry. Oh, but my, oh my, now that she's gone, what did it all mean? She was a blessing and a curse. She was a nightmare, she was a dream. And it makes no sense, and buddy, it sure ain't smart. Still you're out there looking for that girl who'll break her own heart. Oh, yeah.
So 3 tracks there from Peter Karp, who you can see at Eddie's Attic, Thursday the 16th, a week today, with a tremendous band. Very good lineup indeed. Local guys. He's very well known here, and he considers Atlanta a second home. I think he's Nashville based, although his phone number's been New York forever. But the songs were Your Prettiness, Shadows and Cracks, and She Breaks Her Own Heart. 3 different albums, 3 different flavors. But if you want to be superbly entertained, highly recommend the show coming up. And he will be my guest very shortly, live from Venice, just as a wind-up. And you're going to hear all about why if you stay tuned. But first, we got some new albums to lay on you, some new sounds from Canada to New Orleans. So there you go. Hang on tight and enjoy.
Ormwood Park Makers Festival has returned, and this year it's being held on Saturday, June 11th from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. in Ormwood Park. The event is presented by SAND, South Atlantans for Neighborhood Development, and CrossFit Downtown Atlanta, and was created to highlight the Ormwood Park community, while providing a space for learning and creating. There will be music, food trucks, artist vendors, and Skillshare workshops by local makers. That's Saturday, June 11th from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m., the corners of Woodland Avenue Southeast and Delaware Avenue Southeast in Ormwood Park. For more information, the website is ormwoodpark.org. This is another public service announcement brought to you by your station for progressive information, WRFG Atlanta, 89.3 FM, WRFG.org.
Is it evil between you and me? I can't live up to this. I've been taking back all that you borrowed. So sad and all alone. Oh, I know you're not that far away. Think of you every day. The sunlight, it don't hide it. The shadow on my shoulder, and you're not the only one whose dreams have come undone. care, but I done got old. When the Lord help me, oh, where I sit now, baby, ain't no big deal on you. Oh, my friends call me a fool for letting you do me the way you do. I'm trying to tell you, baby, I can't put up with you, but I done got over. No, heaven, you. Where I sit now, baby, ain't no big deal on you. Just ain't that kind, but I done got over. With no heaven, you. Oh, the way I see it now, baby, ain't no big deal on you.
Took that job, didn't care what it paid. She'd never be satisfied with the money he made. All your ambitions and your trains of thought, all the hard times and the troubles you caught. Now high on hope and your deep in desire, out on the road, blowing fire.
First, second, third, fourth, and fifth. Where you got so hot you burned your lips. Marching up the hill, can all that give? Baby, no pain, no shame, no fear. How's hope, deep in desire? Can that torch blow with fire? Blow some fire, Johnny, come on.
It all filters down to your soul inside. Notes you're bending like tears you cry. See him come and you watch him go. All those years you stack up, but still you blow. I ain't for fortune, fame, or greed. It's all just the thrill of blowing that reed. You're high on hope, you're deep in desire. You lighten up and you blow in fire. Blow, baby. Smart. I want a drink that's good for my heart. I want you to know right from wrong. I want you to pay for this song. Flowers that never die. No more tears and no more crying. I want politicians that can get along. I want you to pay for this song. I ain't in no steady rotation, but that still don't change your obligation. I wrote it down, it didn't take that long. You still need to pay for this song. But you know that's wrong. I want you to pay for this song. Stream it on the internet and every single continent. I just got a check for 33 cents.
That's a Canadian lady, Miss Sass Jordan. I had her on the show 2 years ago. What a tremendous voice. And I love the end laugh. You know, sometimes they don't cut off and clean off the bits at the beginning and end of songs, especially at the end when people go, all right, oh yeah, or some other thing. And she's just laughing at the end of that first one. With a very Joplin-esque voice. I know it's wrong sometimes to make that connection with people, but if you want a description, then that's it. A song called Even, followed by a funky thing called Ain't No Big Deal on You. That's a brand new release from her, out a few weeks ago, which I'm just now catching up on, sorry. Followed by Mr. Johnny Sansone from New Orleans. I've been waiting for this album, so glad to get that in. We started out with Blowin' Fire, with Mr. Jason Ricci blowing his fire, who's hopefully recovered from his 40-hour trip to Germany. He got stuck in Canada yesterday and the day before. I don't know what happened, but man, let's get a travel agent and for musicians so they don't have to deal with this. It's bad enough, you know. What was the other track we played from that album? It was Pay for This Song. which was Johnny on harp. And that's right, pay for the song. I think that's totally the way it should be. Let us go track down the troubadour that is Mr. Peter Karp, talking to us from Italy. Oh, I forgot to tell him my joke. Oh, I'll have to tell him when I see him.
He came on without warning. He's on the radio in the morning. He got a hell of a life, a beautiful wife. You know I'm talking about UK Bob, WRFG Atlanta. Good morning, blues. Play them blues, Bob.
It's Thursday morning on Good Morning Blues, and somehow the jet lag has pushed to one side thanks to some Starbucks breakfast blend coffee and the fact that I get up and chat to a buddy of mine who I haven't talked to in a while. Why I'm suffering him because of something he keeps annoying me with, I don't understand, but we'll let Mr. Peter Karp explain himself to you this morning. Good morning, Peter.
Hey, man, how you doing, UK Bob? How's everything?
Oh, it's great, but, you know, I've been telling you for the last 2 or 3 years, stop posting the bloody pictures of Venice, my favorite place in Italy. You got to knock it up. Now I end up talking to you on the phone, and you're still there.
Mm-hmm. I come here as often as I can because I fell in love with this place, have a lot of good friends here. Of course, the food, the whole vibe. We love music here. You know, when I come, I have a little tiny apartment. Literally, it's the size of my piano, bed, and guitar. And, I hole up here, and I have a little band I play around in northern Italy with. And then I just chill out and, just have some really good food and enjoy myself. And this is a place where I come to recharge. And I write songs here and just kind of chill, kind of get off the grid.
That is the place to do it, and I love it. And it would just wind me up. Along come the pictures. Here's Peter singing or hanging off a bridge and saying, hey, from Venice. I'm going, knock it off. You know how now here I am actually talking to you from there. It's like, you do it just to wind me up, I swear.
I do. I live for that. Come on.
Anyway, it's great to talk to you. Sorry that I haven't seen you through the whole panorama. But you're going to be Eddie Zadek week today, which is Thursday the 16th. So that'll be terrific.
That's right. I'm looking forward to it. Eddie's is, one of the greatest rooms in the country, really, for listening. There's a few others that are my favorites, but Eddie's is at the top of the list. It's just got great sound, great people. Of course, coming back to Atlanta and seeing a lot of people who I've known over the years. It's funny, in a lot of ways I sort of feel based, even though I'm in Nashville, I have so many friends in Atlanta and so many people over the years who are, have come to see me and I've gotten to know that it feels kind of like a second home. Nancy, starting with Nancy, who I started working with, a zillion years ago. So, but, and the musicians too, because the town is such a musical town in its own right. They've just got great musicians there. And I'm really excited to be coming back. And I'm actually playing with some musicians from Atlanta that night, on Thursday night, in my band. So it's really exciting. I'm very happy.
And that's one of the big things about it, because the city itself, grown since I arrived from London from, I think, around 5 million to 11 million. And, that's a big deal.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I remember Atlanta when I used to live in Alabama as a kid. We'd drive through Atlanta coming down from New Jersey, and we'd come back going to Enterprise, and we'd to Atlanta. Atlanta was just, Atlanta was it was a shiny city because, I think it had been burned to the ground, but it was nothing like it is now. I think probably the Olympics changed all that too, right? So
it did, and some things that grew from that, and a lot of musicians, and then Katrina forced a lot of great New Orleans musicians up here, based, I think Dirty Dozen were based here for a couple of years, and some came up and stayed, a lot went back because obviously New Orleans is very much their own music. But it is a big music town. And, Eddie's very much is great for people like you. Very, like you said, a listening room. And there are some terrific places in London that are like that. And I try and steer people to play in those if you really want to hear what's going on and not just have a big band on stage while hundreds of people mill around. So that would be good. And I believe, if I was informed correctly, that you will have Mark playing with you on the 16th.
Yes. Yeah, Mark Johnson, who many people, many of the listeners probably know from his old band there, Delta Moon. And Mark's going to be joining me. Mark and I have known each other over the years. I'd see them at gigs. We'd play festivals. I got to know Tom Gray pretty well over the last 5 or 10 years because we would play these songwriter festivals together, and very often they would pair us together, and we just had a lot of fun. I mean, when you get paired up in a songwriter festival, it can go either way. It can be intensely, jovially, with a sense of humor, competitive, or it can just be balls out fun. And with Tom, it was always just a lot of fun. We just always had a great time, and we just gelled. And Mark, same thing. Their whole vibe and mine, I think, clicked pretty good. And so we're going to work together. We're going to do some shows in Atlanta and the Atlanta area, and then actually in Italy in July, we're going to play together. He and I are going to play with a couple of guys out of Milano, and we're going to do some touring in the north, and then we're going to go down to Sicilia, as they say, Sicily, and do some shows down there, a couple of festivals, and have some fun.
I haven't
Gotta
seen
have
Mark.
fun, Bob. Gotta have fun.
Oh, I get up every day saying, what's on my fun list? It's funny, when you're on vacation and you're in a place like Maui, you have more time to think, and you think you have time to think when you're at home, but you don't really, because you're distracted by your home life and stuff around you. I had plenty of time to think, just staring at that blue, blue, blue ocean. And I thought to myself, when was the last time I saw Mark? I haven't seen him since Tom passed, which has to be last October. And you start thinking about your list of things, and I was trying to explain to someone that I forget the negative. Don't have many, so this isn't a complaints list, but if I've had a negative somewhere in my history, which we all do, something will pop up and mess up your day, your week, whatever, stuff happens. And the songwriter friend of mine in New Orleans wrote a great song called It's What You Got to Go Through, and it's just life. But the difference for me is my list is a fun list because I forget the odd negative thing that comes up. So if you ask me to talk about a year, a city, I'll think of all the fun things because I've forgotten the others. So my fun list is what's on the Post-it note, and on top of that list is my girl. So there you go.
Well, I tell you, man, I was telling somebody the other day, they were telling me they've gone into therapy, and that they try to sort things out. And I said, man, at this stage of the game, I don't want to know anything. All I want to do is forget everything. I'm getting very good at denial. I've become an expert at denial. And I'm a big believer in denial now because I'm like, you know what? Screw all that. I'm going to enjoy this moment right now. I've had so many people, I've lost so many people. I've seen so many things. I don't want to dissect and, as my mother used to say, stir up the mud. I don't want to stir up the mud. I'm going to go live every day to its fullest, man, and have as much fun as I can, and say that unabashedly. I'm all about the fun, man. All about the fun.
I'm with you.
I'm getting
pretty good at it.
Yeah, when you get good at it, it's great. It's fun.
But it's not.
Yeah, I'm right with you.
I don't consider that turning my back. I don't consider that being ignorant to the world. I know it. I know all the bad things that are going on. But you know what? We've got one trip on this planet. And let's face it, mine is getting, my remaining time clock is shorter and shorter and shorter. And why not? You know, I'm not oblivious. I just see no point in resurrecting, regurgitating, or promoting anything that's not sunshine and fun, because who knows? I could be gone next week.
Well, you know what? And your social media posts reflect that. Because every time I go on that stupid Facebook or whatever, and I see one of your posts, I laugh. You're always got something going. And that, you know, so I love that stuff, and that's how I try to live my life generally every day, and try to bring in my music. You know, every show. I've never been able to I've never looked at it as work. You know, I hear a lot of times other performers or artists will say, "Oh man, are you working?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not working, but I'm playing."
Yeah, and some fool is paying me.
That's it. Exactly. I got him fooled again, you know.
Well, let's play some music for the people that are listening while you're lounging in your cabana in Venice, while certain people might be leaning over you holding grapes and telling you what's on today's menu and everything else, because that's just how you live. We're going to play a track from your last album, Magnificent Heart, called Sitting on the Edge of the World, because that is a great place to be. And if you're not living on the edge, man, you are taking up too much room.
There you go.
You can see a fire burning for miles. You can feel the endless gray that comes from within. Where fields of ash meet glossy skies of pearl. Here we are, sitting on the edge of the world. Lifeless, limbless trees silhouette the horizon line. A lone bell tolls a distorted chortle chime. A tattered flag waves limp where once unfurled. Here we are, sitting on the edge of the world. You say you know just what you know. I say maybe it's time I go. You say why it's getting good. I say maybe that's why I should. I say maybe it's time I go. You say why it's getting good. I say maybe that's why I should. Mangled melody whistles through barbed wire. A rudderless refrain with no time for rhyme. My heart is crying tears, my eyes are bleeding. All in a world, sitting on the edge of the world. You and me, girl, sitting on the edge of the world. Here we are, sitting on the edge.
Hey everybody, this is Peter Karp. And when I die, I want to come back
as a dolphin. But if I can't come back as a dolphin, I want to come back as UK Bob, the best blues man I know. Snappy dresser, good looking man, knows his music, and plays it on WRFG Atlanta. Good morning blues. I say good morning blues. Good morning blues. Play 'em, Bob.
And now a message from our Public Affairs Bulletin Board. Food for Life is an emergency COVID relief program to deliver groceries to the door of anyone in the Atlanta area who needs them. Volunteers are properly vetted to ensure safety. The project is a mutual aid effort organized and run entirely by regular people volunteering their time, and there is a serious need for more volunteers. Help includes everyday packing of grocery boxes and delivering them. There are also many volunteer opportunities that can be done entirely from home, including answering phone calls and coordinating volunteers to drive. Anyone can sign up to receive groceries or to volunteer at atlsurvival.org/food.
We're talking to Peter Karp, who's winding me up somewhere in Venice, and he did this on purpose because he knows how it frustrates me. But we did just play a song of his called Sitting on the Edge of the World from his last album. And we were talking about life and how we should live it. In our opinion, you listeners, everyone's going to have different feelings towards that, and we get that. But I think if enough people share positivity, I do believe there are people who have said to me, just from the crazy way I live and perhaps my crazier clothes, that's just how I feel. And if it makes you feel a little bit like that too when you're around me having dinner or at a music show, then great, mission accomplished, because I would love to spread and share. And today especially, my sister would have been 70 years old, and that's the weirdest feeling in the world, Peter. She's been gone 27 years, died at 43 of the terrible illness of cancer, which you and I both know has caught so many people that we're close to. And you can't help but think about what would she be doing today. She was way smarter than me, and she played guitar, didn't like anything she played. She was more of a folkie. She was 4 years older than me, but one of her heroes was people like Townes Van Zandt, who, when she was around and I was listening, never heard of him, never heard of Austin, Texas. I was still living in London. So, and it's weird how you fast forward all those years and suddenly, I got a brain and I know who those people are and where those things are, but it's sometimes just weird to try and imagine that person still here and what they would be like.
Well, many people say they are still here. And, I think for me, losing people like the way you lost your sister, over the years, they loom larger and larger and larger in my life in a different way. Clearly not present in day to day, but in my mind, I start to see everything, and I see them, and I see the dimensions of who they are more and more, and it always astounds me. And the thing as you get older, I always feel they become even more vivid in a lot of ways. When I think about them, or if I dream about them, I sort of really can feel and see the totality of their life, and maybe I understand more about them even. Even in the case of people who I didn't get along with that well, I had family members, that were difficult. But after their passing, I sort of saw their life a different way in time and dimension. And some people say that's because they're still here. And who am I to argue? I'm with that. I'm down with that.
Well, they say, one of the points that I live a lot. I just came back from Jazz Fest. It's been crazy, 3 months. I spent 3 weeks in London, came home, changed bags. I went down to Jazz Fest, came home, recovered from being out till 4 a.m. in the clubs, having a blast, and went on vacation with my honey. And one of the things that I remember to do with when you're thinking of people, and I've lost quite a few, is that they're not really dead until their name is no longer spoken. So that's after their passing, number one, after the celebration of life or funeral, number two, but they're still here. It's when their name is no longer mentioned, which is why, you know, it was good to be able to talk about Tom Gray. That was a strange one for me. We knew each other. Yeah. I'm not a musician. Don't have to be. You can love people and enjoy people without necessarily, you know, being all up in their capabilities. In my ears, enjoyed Tom Gray as a person to talk to and listen to. But that week, I try to think, I don't remember without looking it up, sometime in October, I was in New York, and I posted a picture of a guy leaning through the window of an old truck, and it really got to him, and he calls me. He said, "But where'd you get that picture?" I said, "Sorry, I don't remember. It just struck me." He said, "Yeah, it struck me too." I'll go back. I said, "I think a friend of mine sent it to me." He says, "Well, can you check it out? Because I want to use it as an album cover that he was working on." He'd been in the studio for a couple of days. I think this was the Thursday, and he passed on a Saturday night. And I just find that really weird. Here was an ongoing thing that connected me and Tom, and I felt relevant, and I wanted to be part of this new album because I had just my tiny little piece. I found a picture he really wanted as the album cover, and boom, he's gone, you know. So I keep talking about him and the 5 people I lost that year, from 48 to 70. You know, you can't put a number on it because cancer is that way, and they don't care. And so let's keep saying their names. And that's one of the things that I love of what you do. The songs to me are lyrical stories, and they jack up my imagination. Now, I might be wrong, and I might misinterpret, and maybe other people do, but what does it matter if it's getting to you where you're sitting there thinking about what you're singing? Mission accomplished, right?
That's it. That's very true. I mean, it's funny. I just finished a record. I mean, I say it's finished. I'm not quite sure if I really finished it. I'm still sort of tinkering with it, but and you know, I don't know when I'm going to release it yet. I'm giving it some thought about how to release it and who to release it with, because it's a little different. I mean, it's a little more, you know, fiddles and mandolins and things like that. Not so much of a rock blues record, but it's definitely it's a songwriting record. And it's really, I think, a lot of the songs. There are songs that I wrote going back to when I was working with Oh Boy Records back in the 2005 or so. And during the pandemic, I sort of collected some of this stuff and wrote some new things and built it around it. And I would, you know, the last couple of years, I've just given a lot of thought about songwriting, about, you know, what it is, you know, what I'm thinking about and what I'm doing and where it's going. And it's such a strange thing, you know. It's a living Mobius experience, because, you know, how you write, really it's like living life. How you write at one stage of your life is different in the later stages of your life. And then, you know, I mean, I heard a Chris Christopherson record he made, I guess, a couple of years ago, and, you know, he's up there now. He's getting up there. And what a great record. What an incredible, I forget the name of it now, but it's his last record. Such a good record, such an introspective record, and yet, you know, kind of funny, kind of bittersweet, but very sweet and very smart, of course, you know. So, you know, I don't know. I guess it's just it's probably the only time where I can really be myself is when I'm writing a song, and when I'm working on a song. It's probably the only time I'm really comfortable with myself, I guess. You know. Otherwise, I'm always a little bit at odds, you know.
Maybe you feel that's the only public representation that works for you. This is the Peter Karp I want people to see, hear, and feel is the guy on this album. You unnecessarily tone yourself down. Your albums have always had a huge range of things on it, never predictable. You don't plod along. You'll switch completely into different things. album, that doesn't mean to say the album doesn't gel together, and doesn't mean to say that each album isn't different. But you somehow seem to put together the jigsaw, you know? And I think that makes it more interesting.
I think that's part of it, is that I've never been interested. I mean, I think there's probably a couple of songs I've written with a mind's eye. Really, anything I did that had some commercial, supposed to go someplace commercially, but I don't do that really. I don't like doing that, and really, it's just what I write is really, really who I am and what I do, and that's probably why I feel that way. I mean, it's really, it's a double-edged sword, because I'm not writing commercially. I'm writing for myself, and that's the way I think all the songwriters who I ever, in the blues and any genre, that's what I've always responded to when I was growing up and stuff like that. All those cats, like, from, of course, Bob Dylan and Van Morrison, and Muddy Waters, all those guys, Elmore James, all those guys that just kind of just said what they were going to say, Robert Johnson. And there was no target marketing idea or plan like that, So that.
Well,
Tom Gray was the same way. I think Tom was the same. Yeah. That's what I think we bit from the same apple. Tom was the same way.
And let's be honest. To me, that means the outcome is always far more organic and successful than doing the reverse. Of trying to put food on the table through something that will, someone has said, hey, write a song like this and we'll give you this. No, you can't do that. That's just not the way it's going to work. I meant to ask you, because I know you're equally capable in my eyes. Remember, as a pair of ears, not a musician. Once you've got a story, do you go to find the melody more using the piano than the guitar, simply because you've got more notes to choose from? I mean, what's normal for you?
I'll use both. I mean, I very often, when I'm writing a song, whatever's closest, if I'm sitting at the piano, I'll start to play the piano. If I have the guitar on my bed, I pick it up and I play it. And very often I'll cut the song, playing the piano with the band, and then I'll cut it again, playing, like, completely change the arrangements and play guitar. And I think that because both instruments are so very different, and yet both are so powerful and colorful, then I decide which way I'm going to go. Like I'll play it. I'll write something that has a New Orleans kind of feel to it, like I'll kind of pull some Dr. John things that have affected me over the years, or Professor Longhair, more like. And then the next night I might just play it, on a guitar and just strip it down to nothing, So for me, because it's really about the words, I think, and the melody basically, and then the arrangements. I mean, Dylan is the master of that. So many people. How many times have you heard Bob Dylan do, Blow in the Wind, and you listen and you're like, you're 2 minutes into the song, and you're like, what song is this? And then you're like, oh man, that's Blowing in the Wind, and he's doing it on an accordion and a bongo or something. Completely. And
then there's all the songs that he wrote that were hits for other people, and he never connected his, too much on his name. You don't realize until you look deep down and go, wow, really? That was written by him, because you didn't look, It's just odd.
Yeah.
We're going to play some more music. So those of you who are late, don't forget, you can go online, download a letter from my mum, which is the only excuse you'll have, has to be filed by the end of the day to excuse you from not being on time to listen to Peter Karp talking to us from Venice, Italy at great expense. Oh, didn't tell you my Venice story. We'll tell you that after we played the song. So speaking of lyrics and stories, this is my favorite song from Blue Flame, just a couple of years ago. A terrific song. And you're going to listen to that now, and we'll continue our chat in just a sec.